Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the As Above, So Below show. My name is Meg Moonbeam, and I'm here with the one and only, my co host, Ashala Yardley. How's it going, Ashala?
Hello, it's going pretty well, Meg. How's it going with you?
It's going well. It's September. I cannot believe we are in September now, and we are entering this crazy cool eclipse season this whole month that we're in the influence of. So, we're definitely going to be talking about that in today's As Above, So Below, along with some other topics that come up in the moment, as we always do. And thank you so much, everyone that's in the live chat. Cool. We've got Manchester, UK in the house, St. Petersburg's, Florida, Washington. Wow, we got a really international crowd tonight. Hello, everybody. Australia. Good morning, Australia. So, thank you guys so much for joining, whether you're live or in the replay. And please remember, you guys, to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate all of your support. And if you'd like to have a personal reading with Ashala or myself, those are available at the link below at consultations.beyondmystic.net. We've also got Ashala's daughter, Crystal, now a part of the Beyond Mystic team. And Crystal also has tarot readings available. How's it going? Crystal's been doing, has it been a week or 2 weeks that she's been doing readings on the
Yeah,
consultations?
on Beyond Mystic, she's been doing them for I think it's just over a week now. And it's
Nice.
going great. It's going really great.
Yay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm so happy for her. And also, our lovely Carla over at Ascension Organites has this new Double Your Power sale. Spend $100 or more and get any beginner series pyramid for free. Sounds like a pretty good deal, if you ask me. Valid until September 8th, 2025. So you guys can go check that out at ascensionorganites.com. So, Ashala, how are you doing at the moment with the energies? Anything interesting coming up in life? How are you?
I'm pretty well. I feel, as always in these last few years, even, but definitely in the last year or so, I feel some of the most extraordinary, expansive, like positive, encouraging things happening,
Mhm.
and also some kind of scary stuff too, like personally and collectively. So
Yeah.
I see that in my clients as well. I don't know if you're seeing that, Meg, but there's just
Mhm.
sort of like straddling between timelines, between realities, between the old system, the new system. And it seems like we've been doing this for such a very long time. And yet it also feels like things are speeding up.
Yep.
I've got some real questions for you about these
Ooh.
um, eclipse season because I just have kind of put my ear to the ground a bit about it. And
Mhm.
the little bit that I've heard is that is this correct? We're going back into some of that Pisces energy again.
Yep. You've
Um,
got it.
so we're retrograding and eclipsing at the same time. It's like, oh my.
Yeah. Holy guacamole is what I've been saying a lot lately. Yeah, you're right on. We're in this eclipse season energy, which we're going to talk about in today's show. And a lot of planets retrograde at the same time. Pluto, Saturn, Neptune, Chiron, which is an asteroid. And actually, the day before the full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces on September 6th, the eclipse is on September 7th, Uranus goes retrograde. So all outer planets starting on September 7th this month will be retrograde while we've got eclipses happening, which eclipses are the biggest events that we can possibly have in astrology. Us astrologers are always freaking out about it because eclipses are about fate and destiny and big life changes, endings, and new beginnings. And for there to be a lot of planets retrograde during this eclipse energy, like you said, Ashala, it is things from the past can definitely be stirring and coming up. And I've been seeing that in a lot of different ways. And these eclipses are happening on the health axis of the signs of Virgo and Pisces. So I think a lot of it is going to have to do with the health side of life, health institutions, all that kind of stuff. Before we get specifically into that, could we maybe do a tarot card pull, Ashala, on our woo community at the moment? What does the universe want us to know as we're kind of stepping into this? We really are in the eclipse season now. We're only 4 days away from this
Mm,
first eclipse.
totally. Yeah, I will
Awesome.
happily look at that. pull the
Thank
card
you, Margie, for your comment.
here.
Meg's Eclipse workshop is so good. Buy it if you haven't. I've watched it 3 times. Wow, Margie, thank you so much. Very nice of you.
That's super helpful. Meg, are you giving people obviously some tips on how to navigate through that?
Definitely, yeah. The Eclipse season workshop, it's like 3.5 hours long, and I talk about my collective predictions in depth, how these eclipses have an effect for the whole next year, what that means, and the 12 sign readings as well. So
Wow.
I always say it's one of the most important things to pay attention to if you're into astrology.
Okay. And, I like to, with the retrograde, and I don't want to just keep going over that, but I do
Yeah.
feel like that's very significant at this time. And I like to give the analogy of a wave, when the waves are coming in, when the tide is coming in and the wave comes in so far, and then all of a sudden it pulls way back again. But the next time it comes back further. It comes in further, right? It's like, so it's that in breath and out breath. And it feels like that's this Five of Swords in the recent past. This has also been, I've been hearing a lot of people talking about feeling antsy, feeling that there's just something, sort of an irritant that's bothering them.
Mm.
And if we're getting pulled back yet again into past stuff, and like the year of the snake, the wood snake year, and getting pulled back into doing more shedding of the skins and so on. We talk about this often. It just feels like, oh, enough already, doesn't it? It's sort of like going through the washing machine, the rinse cycle again or something. But look at this already. So for the collective, yes, we're saying, oh my gosh, please, another rinse cycle. I'm done. I'm done. Can we stop? And yet, look at this. It's joy and celebration, unification, especially around play, around feeling a united front, less divisiveness. This is a very positive. I've pulled this card a lot in the last couple of weeks, by the way. And then this is interesting. You were talking about the Virgo Pisces axis and the health and practical matters. Virgo being about the practical day-to-day life details. And this is a going slow and steady into the future and really solidifying almost our setting our pace. And it's funny that he's on a horse because we're going into the year of the fire horse, and he's kind of getting comfortable in the seat, getting working out any, saddle sores or anything, because we're going to be riding. Next year is going to be like go, go, go. And we want to maybe sort of get ourselves ready for that, if that makes sense. That's overall what I'm being shown here.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense. And I've personally, Ashala, been getting that 3 of Cups a lot lately. Also the 5 of Swords a lot, but that 3 of Cups has been coming up for me, I think the past week or 2, like more so than usual, which I always love getting that card. That's one of my most favorite tarot cards. So like celebration, right? Community. And I feel like these eclipses, it's interesting. I did my Astro Woo September forecasts last week. I can't even remember what day it was, but very strong feelings that I'm getting around this eclipse season around huge truths being revealed in the medical field. Maybe we're also going to bring up President Trump's Truth Social post from today, get into that a bit. Have you been sensing that as well, Shala, that we're kind of on the precipice this month of possibly some huge truths being revealed about the health system, or have you been feeling that kind of just in general the whole past time we've been living in? It's been a lot of revelations, but for me, it feels like we're on the precipice of something really big. Do you get that sense at all?
I do. And, it's interesting because we all glean our information from different sources. And I don't know what the wisdom is, but I've been guided to watch a lot of like mainstream media to get the bead of where they're at. So I have like a feed on my computer and I open it up every day and I just take a scan of everything. And I try not to click on anything too much because I want to get a wide scan representation. I don't want them to start, algorithming me. And
Mhm.
I have noticed in the last even week or 10 days, so much more of our news coming into those channels. So, like, something's happening. There seems to be a crossover happening because I've been watching this since, I mean, all the way along, but certainly since 2020, I've been watching it pretty closely. And it's very interesting how much of that information is coming onto our channels and getting talked about out in, you know, normie world. So
Mhm.
I feel that that is an indication that so much more is ready to be rolled out. And it's
Yep.
already coming. It's already, if you're watching for the evidence of it, you can see it.
Definitely. Wow. And isn't that so interesting, Ashala? Like you just said, we've been living in times where if you've been into the alternative, right, the woo-woo community, as we like to say, many of us were called crazy in 2020, 2021, 2022. Then it started to become more popular and trendy to kind of be open to this kind of stuff. And now a lot of people are on the same page. Not everybody, but exactly what you just said. A lot of this stuff coming out in the news. And in particular, anything else you want to share with those cards, Ashala, or can I bring
Oh,
something else up?
yeah, go for it.
So this really struck me today. Okay, you guys, this is a post from President Trump on his Truth Social. I'm just going to read this out loud, then we can maybe talk on it and then maybe pull some cards about it as well, Ashala, if you'd like to. So Trump posted, it is very, actually, this was from Monday, I think. It is very important that the drug companies justify the success of their various COVID drugs. Many people think they are a miracle that saved millions of lives. Others disagree. With CDC being ripped apart over this question, I want the answer and I want it now. Isn't it interesting how certain words he's a fascinating Gemini. He capitalizes some words, he makes up his own words. I've been shown information from Pfizer and others that is extraordinary, but they never seem to show those results to the public. Why not? They go off to the next hunt and let everyone rip themselves apart, including Bobby Kennedy Jr. and CDC, trying to figure out the success or failure of the drug companies' COVID work. They show me great numbers and results, but they don't seem to be showing them to many others. I want them to show them now to CDC and the public and clear up this mess one way or another. Now, here's the part that gets me. I hope Operation Warp Speed was as brilliant as many say it was. If not, we all want to know about it and why. Thank you for your attention to this very important matter. Now, Ashala, initial thoughts, feelings about this?
Well, obviously, it was concerning, especially because on mainstream media, the caption was Trump turns on his own team and is basically ready to throw, RFK Jr. under the bus or something like that. That was basically something of the headline. And I was like, oh boy, here we
Hmm.
go. And then this was what rationalized that. But what I found interesting was that on the mainstream media, they couldn't make sense of it either. They were like, what's he actually saying here? They were kind of going like, is he with us? Is he not with us? Like, does he? So I found the fact that even mainstream media found it confusing kind of interesting. They didn't go, see, we got to get rid of RFK Jr. and this whole nonsense. Of course, they were going down that road, but they were uncertain about what was being said in this message. And I found that really interesting.
Very good point. And I also find it interesting a couple things. First of all, this is the first time, and let me know, you guys, if I'm wrong. I try to keep up with things as much as possible. This is the first time I am personally seeing President Trump question Operation Warp Speed because I have seen nothing from him so far, and I could be wrong, but Operation Warp Speed was one of the best things we ever did, and it saved so many people's lives. And for me personally, okay, that's been really triggering for me as somebody that has vax injured people from these experimental shots in my family and friends. And I love President Trump, but that is very triggering for me. And it's been one of those things that I don't understand. So to see this really tickles my interest because to me, it's sounding like he's, and maybe he does know the truth, right? And maybe this is all just a show. Okay. But if he is being genuine in this post, it sounds to me like he doesn't even know the truth and he's asking the truth and wants to know it. And he may already know, and it's just all part of laying out, the truth along the way kind of thing.
Mhm.
But to say, I hope Operation Warp Speed was as brilliant as it may seem, that is like a question mark, right? That is a
Mhm.
not totally sure by the statement. Am I making sense how I'm saying that, Ashala?
Yeah, and there's some comments coming out here that I kind of resonate with, and I'll tell you why.
Right,
Um, yeah, people saying it was brilliant.
right.
And what was brilliant about it is what I heard and have understood is that it actually made it so that the whole idea of keeping us locked down for months
Mhm,
on end, and like we could have dropped, the economy could have just dropped off the face of the earth at that point, right? Like to just shut all the businesses down, to shut everything down. And what my understanding was that Operation Warp Speed was about creating this miracle cure that then, but not really like,
mhm,
saline solution version of that,
right.
to basically say, look, we've done this and satisfied that requirement, and now people can go back to work.
Mm,
And, you know, I mean, it's very dicey because where does that leave those of us that were right all the way along, knew there was so much going on with this? Um, and yeah, like it's up for debate, I think, always. I never want to say I'm absolutely certain one way or the other
yeah,
about this, but I have heard from a lot of different back channel perspectives that it did the job of stopping the lockdowns, which was essential to recover the economy at that point and
yeah.
to start this whole, you know, kind of motion that we've been on. So there's that. And therefore, what is he saying here?
Mhm,
it, I would hope that what he's saying here is that he's actually calling out Pfizer and these companies to say, if you've got all this irrefutable evidence, for heaven's sakes, why are you not sharing it? And if you don't, then you need to be honest about that now.
mhm.
So, should we pull cards on it?
Definitely, yeah, and I'll just say, there is part of me that agrees with you, and I want it to be true that Operation Warp Speed, was done as a better option than something else because that was always weird for me. And when was it when the lockdown stopped? I guess it depends what country you were in. We had very intense lockdowns in Canada, where Shal and I are from, and Belgium, where I was stuck in for 2 years. But I did get that feeling like in 2022 when the lockdowns really stopped happening, why are they stopping this? Right? Because we know that they, and when I say they, I mean I like to call them the dark arts people. They feed off of our energy. The biggest loose you can possibly get is when we're all locked down and in fear, right? So I did feel, okay, if they're winning, why are we stopping the lockdowns now? Right. So in a common sense way, that what you just shared, Ashala, does make sense to me for sure. And it's interesting how it's all trickling out now. I don't know if you heard, Ashala, but Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is going to be doing a press conference this month on the cause of autism. Did you hear about that yet?
No, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah. So that was something that Del Bigtree, who's close to RFK Jr., announced publicly like months and months ago. He said, wait till the end of the year or near the end of the year, Bobby's going to do a press conference exposing what the cause of autism is. And then last week, he was in a publicly videotaped meeting with President Trump, and he said, President Trump, we know what it is now, and we'll be doing a press conference in September.
Right. So now we're going to end up seeing something like the war of the scientists
Right.
because, they're still, mainstream media is still coming at this with the whole pseudoscience thing. And so where are we going to, and this has been part of the rationale that has kept us in that conspiracy kind of bandwidth is people are going, yeah, but you guys just don't listen to science. And it's like, okay, yeah, we do actually listen to science. We're listening to different science than you are, but it's still science. Like there's a whole pile of evidence to support our version of what's going on here. So, and
Mhm.
that's being swept under the rug. So, I think this is the time really to catalyze this massive scientific debate on these subjects and and one of the things I feel as a result of going, maybe it's the eclipse, maybe it's going back into this retrograde, but it's
Mhm.
getting to the point where even the people that have been holding back speaking out because they're afraid to lose something. I think a lot of people are getting to the point now where it's different than it was in 2020 and
Yeah.
2021, where people were like, oh, I want to keep everything battened down and I don't want to lose my job and I don't want to lose my security. It's like, well, that's all changing. And there's so many more versions of reality out there and everybody's going like, hey, we're all in this kind of a bit of a sinking stinking ship or something. We got to figure
Mhm.
out a new way of going about this, right? So I think
Mhm.
people are going to be so much more willing to say, if there's a debate and there's room for us to be heard, we're coming out. That's what I
Mhm.
that's what I'm
Yep.
praying.
Definitely, and love that. And right before you pull cards, Ashala, just want to bring up this comment here. Patty MC says, that's what people want to believe, but really, that's how we got here to begin with. Need some actual truth and proof. Proof. Sorry, guys, I have jet lag brain right now. Not hypotheticals and hope. And it's so interesting that Trump posts this the day Saturn goes back into Pisces, retrogrades back. It's very Piscean, right? It's so Pisces what we've been in. And we spoke right before we went live, Ashala, that we're going back into that Pisces fog, right? Saturn's going back into Pisces. Neptune's going to be going back into Pisces soon. What's real? What's not real? And I think we'll really get a sense from the Western astrology going into 2026. Can Okay, before we pull on that Trump post and what's coming from that, could we do maybe a quick pull on time wise, if you're comfortable with it? How much
Mhm.
longer are we in this confusion state of what's real, what's not real? Is this short term? Is this long term? Is that something we can ask?
Mhm. Yes. Yeah.
Have you been
Great.
feeling that too, Ashala? Like I've been really noticing that lately. Like there's some things I don't even know what's real and not real when it comes to it, right?
Um, yeah, it's interesting. I was just working with a client earlier today, and we were getting this word came through. It was called isness,
Mhm.
and it was related to children and how children have a sense of what really is and what isn't. Like dogs, animals have it. Like they can tell a shyster from a good person a mile away. Like I don't. They say they can smell it or something. Like there's something about isness, and we've been trained to think before we feel. To think, and I don't mean emotionally feel, I mean sense feel. We think
Right.
before we sense. And this need to, we can think, but we got to sense first and we got to sense last. Like we got to sense, what's my sense about this? And then think and then sense again and just keep doing that, because there's something about what is reality is starting to emerge from all of this illusion. It's starting to like literally rise up out of this. That's what my feeling is. And the only difference now from like 100 years ago, 500 years ago is that then there was a lot stronger consensus reality that was programmed to dominate our perspective. Now there isn't.
Right.
So we're a lot more sort of left to our own devices, which is actually our senses, coming to our senses, right?
Mm.
So timeline about the clarity coming out of this struggle. Yeah. Well, we used to say, follow the money. And in a way, it's still that, but it's also like, see where, because it's almost like what I'm being shown here is the universe is now saying, okay, there was a lot of leeway. There was a lot of leeway, like people could manipulate natural law and get away with it for a few lifetimes before it came back and smacked them. We're going through the eye of the needle right now, so there's not much leeway. So we're going to see a lot more instant karma happening. We're going to see a lot more like things will not hold water very long if they don't have truth to them. So it's going to almost be a little bit of like the last person standing. Like it'll become obvious in the 3D reality of what actually not only holds up through all of this, but starts to like evolve in a healthy way, because we're going through this eye of the needle. It's not, the old power dynamic is not going to work anymore.
Right.
So things based on this old system of power and dominance cannot make it through this evolutionary part of the eye of the needle that we're going through. So in terms of time, I heard the guide say, we have nothing but time. It's really more about, often when we're looking at timelines in readings, for example, it's not about when is this going to happen. It's about how close are we?
Right.
Not in days, months, years, hours, whatever, but in proximity. How close are we to this timeline? And it feels like this night is kind of guarding. So I think those of us that are on guard, meaning we have the guardian knight, which is the spiritual warrior, we can find a way forward at this point. I think that we're going to start to feel a lot more grounded, a lot more safe. Interesting, we got 2 horses here too. So that year of the fire horse, isn't that interesting? The fire horse. This is the fire sign suit. The suit of wands are associated with the element of fire, and it's the horse, the knight. So we got the fire horse. So I would think by the end of the fire horse year, we will be on this new path. Most of us that are here. And, unfortunately, some people will not, they won't be able to sit on the saddle and stay on. They'll fall off, right?
I'm so happy that you just said that, Ashala. I'm sorry if I'm interrupting you, but when I did my September astrology forecast, I was getting very strong with the transits, and also when I was pulling some cards, that there's a very big likelihood, and hopefully that this doesn't happen, but very big likelihood of a lot of people being really tripped out by some of the information being revealed September and in the coming months, to where it'll be really hard for them to take it in. And I was getting this very strong message around the 5 stages of grief, which someone in the comments said was created for cancer patients, which I didn't know that, if that is true. But I was getting that message around, like, people will be going around the 5 stages of grief, which, let me actually bring this up again, because they'll be not able to take in the level of deception that has been put on if you haven't gone through that awakening
Yeah.
yet.
I remember what those are. Yeah,
Yeah.
what is it? There's denial and bargaining and sorrow, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Denial, anger. I forgot anger. Bargaining, depression, or sadness.
What's
And
the bargaining? Do
the
you know what that is?
bargaining is where you're basically trying to say whose fault is it and what can I do to change this? Like, you know, um, it's like you're trying to stop it. Like basically you're still fighting it. You're still fighting it. You're trying to like fix it or change it or something without accepting it. You can't accept it.
Mhm.
So in that anger and bargaining and depression, they've a lot of them have been in denial for a long time. You could say in a way that this grief is already upon us because denial is the first part of it. So they know on some level. They know
Right. Yep.
they're in the first stage of grief. And then they're going to be mad, which they're already, a lot of them are really mad. I mean, that was the thing that I found most interesting during, the pandemic was that the people that had all the backing of the, consensus narrative behind them, not losing their jobs. What did they have to lose? No, not losing their dignity, not, they're righteous. They got the whole system behind them and they're mad. How dare we have the courage to question? They're mad. Why are they mad? Second stage of grief.
Wow.
They're mad. I was amazed, and so
Mhm.
many of my truther friends would walk around going like, "What? Like, I'm the one that should be mad. I lost my job. You know, can't hold my grandkids. I got this and this, and I should be mad. They're mad at me. Why are they mad? They got everything going for them. They got their jobs. They're out going out having food and doing whatever the heck they please. Why are they mad? They were way madder than we were, and still are. Yeah, for the
Wow.
like generally speaking, right?
Yeah, and I love what you just said there, Ashala. I completely agree with you that everybody knows. Everybody knows. Whether they're in the conscious knowing of that, like I had that kind of breakthrough moment a few years ago where I was with a family member who was, long story long, they were kind of laughing at some funny comedy sketch that was about atheism because if God was real, why would there be children? It was like a comedian saying, if God was real, why would there be children starving in Africa and all this crazy stuff going on? It's all bullshit, la la. And this family member was saying to me, look at this. See, there is no spirituality. See, it's how can you justify that? Right. And I had a breakthrough moment where I went, he's he knows. He's getting so upset because he knows, and they all know exactly what you just said, because we are souls having the human experience. So, on that soul level, on your deepest level, everybody knows they're being lied to.
Yeah.
On that subconscious, if you will, or higher self level, it's the conscious mind, right? That's pretending that it's not in the denial, as you
And
just said.
the ego is terrified. The ego
Yep.
is terrified of losing consensus reality because there's a fear of what's going to happen if this version of reality disappears. I'm lost. I have nothing. And it was interesting. I did a pull on this back in the day, like several pulls on it, obviously, card pulls on it, but one of them actually showed that there was something to do with vows, past life vows, and oaths that people had taken. And if they took a certain type of vow or oath, they were vowing that they wouldn't see, like they wouldn't be able to address what was right in front of them. They would deny it. So, those of us that could see it, obviously, we've either done some healing to release some of those vows or agreements, or we didn't agree on some level to something like that. Our soul did not make that agreement. So we
Mhm.
could see and they couldn't. So isn't that fascinating? But at some point, you see, the jig is up because whether they made the agreement to not see, at some point you can't not see, right? It's like,
When there's a press conference happening with the Health and Human Services Secretary and a whole team behind them and all the documents and all the statistics of how the you know whats cause autism, right? It's like it's going to
Mhm.
start being really in the face to the point where that we're really going to see that denial and then the anger. And would you, sorry, Shala, what did you want to say?
I was just gonna say, can we pull on
Yes, I
what's
was going to
gonna
ask if you
happen?
want to pull. Yeah,
Yeah, because
definitely.
I'm curious about what will that look like? Like, my instinct is saying there would be some kind of a major showdown. And in a way, isn't that what Trump's rally cry is right now? Isn't this a major showdown rally cry? I mean, he's saying stop subverting this in the background and ripping each other to shreds. Let's get this out in the open. That's basically what he's asking for. He's
Yeah,
saying, let's get this out in the open. Let's get this out on the open forum. Why are you guys interesting? A couple times he says, why are you not showing if you're so confident in your stats, why are you not showing them?
right.
So what's going to happen? And this is about obviously the link between vaccines and autism. What's going to happen with the press conference scientific panel when you have all these scientists on one side? Is it going to be like, oh, how many scientists do we have on our side or something, right? Like, is it going
Mm,
to be literally, how does science debate? And this is what we were asking for right back at the beginning. We wanted scientific open debate. That's what we wanted. And we never got it. So we're going to get that now, right? Oh,
mhm.
yeah, look at this. So what Trump has done is he's thrown down a gauntlet. And yeah, this is basically saying we're having this debate. It's happening. This is coming up now. We're doing this. No, oh, yeah, look at this. Legal, right? So, yeah, you know what? It feels like our side will be very happy to arrest the case on literally legal misrepresentation. It's going to come down to a legal precedent that has been, like, basically a law was broken, or somehow the way that this was handled, there was something illegal in it that goes against their own. It's a technicality. There's going to be some sort of loophole technicality where and it wasn't the fact that they rushed through it. Of course, we know that that's, not ethical, but maybe it was being done for a certain reason, and we don't fully understand that yet. But yeah, basically that they've gone against their own legal, I mean, everything to do with if they can say, if they have to declare that it was an experimental drug, it's not legal to do that without giving people the choice
Right.
and the information on potential side effects. I mean, look at some of the drugs that these drug companies have up on as advertisements on television. They got a list of side effects that go on for like a whole page. They have to give you those. Why was that not given?
Mm,
Why? Right? So it's going to be that. We're not going to probably see the science debate fully unpacked yet. We're going to see the first legal repercussion of they broke their own law. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
that's a powerful pull right there.
I think
That's
so.
And isn't it kind of interesting how they're all like the Queen of Swords and the Six of Wands, they're sitting in the same direction.
Mhm. Yep, they're
And
going future. They're moving. It's like, and it's even a little bit like, yeah, this is, they're showing me like the Monopoly board is like, well, we're going past go and we collect our our $100 or $200 or whatever. Like, this is just the first round. This is the first round. We'll be back. We're going to do this again and again and again. This is just, we're going to collect our first win, which is the first win is illegal. This was illegally done. And it's not a matter of, because what I said all the way from the very beginning that just was so obvious to me is like, okay, they changed the narrative of what was not natural immunity, what was immunity. They took off World Health Organization's website immediately. It changed. There was no longer natural immunity, was no longer even considered possible. And the only immunity that was available to humanity was through vaccine immunity, vaccine enhanced immunity, or whatever. So it's like right there, you've basically said this isn't about giving people an option to be free of this horrible disease. It's about giving people no option but to utilize this experimental medicine. And that's illegal. That's illegal.
That is illegal. Justice card. Totally. Okay. They are all holding something. Holy crap. They are all holding something in their right hands in those cards.
Ooh. Okay. So
That's
again,
wild.
because you often, the left-hand path is all about subversion. It's all about hiding. It's the hidden, right? So that's why all the Masonic, the left-hand hidden thing and all of that, it's
Mhm.
a code for hiding. The right, it's all in their right hands, is like, we're going to bring everything out of hiding. So
Wow.
yeah, Paul is saying they changed the definition of vaccine too. I mean, it's kind of cool to talk
Yeah.
about this, right? Because we haven't really discussed all
Yeah.
of this for a while. And this is why,
Mhm.
I think given a few years of this cooling off a bit, people are cooler now to have powerful conversations about this, and again, like when it's not so ramped up, I think people can hear and see, yeah, that was wrong. And that's all. It's almost like the guides keep showing me, we just need that first premise of like breaking their own. And I'm seeing someone saying, yeah, the law courts are corrupt as well. But again, it doesn't even mean that it has to go through a court of law at the moment. It just has to be proven that they broke their own law, because whatever it's called, the FDA or the all those drug administration laws and stuff like that, that they broke their own law, because it's going to be like, oh, emergency, what do they call it, like emergency law, or trumps this kind
Yep.
of law. But at some point they're going to realize, oh, actually, but none of those things can trump this particular law. So they're going to realize that that was the first premise. And then it becomes, okay, now let's talk about the injuries.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. And just to tie in the astrology with this as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the eclipse is this month, full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces on September 7th, full new moon solar eclipse Virgo on September 21st. This eclipse cycle where we're having these eclipses currently in Virgo and Pisces, all Pisces eclipses are lunar, endings, completion, release, illumination. Pisces rules going to jail. Pisces rules jail. Okay. And we've got Granddaddy Saturn, as I like to call him, in Pisces. With this eclipse, we also had in the last eclipse, I'm getting the download right now. Saturn is about time, things taking a long time. So we've had Saturn in Pisces since March of 2023. And isn't it interesting? Now we're at the end of the transit. And now we're going to start having, it's seeming like this really coming out to the forefront. And I'm getting chills right now, like Granddaddy Saturn, as I like to call him, and all the other guys helping to exactly what you just said, Ashala. It's the right time. Now's the right time. Years have gone by. We've seen the fallout. We've had literally people die. right? We've had a lot of things going on. We've been able to process it. And this lunar eclipse in Pisces, September 7th, you know, full moons, they're more of the challenging eclipses typically. And Pisces is one of the more challenging signs too, right? It's about sensitivity. It can even be in its shadow side, victimhood, illusions, lies, and confusion, even though it's the spiritual world and creativity. So we got to watch out for all those Pisces themes. But what I love, Ashala, about this eclipse is the traditional ruler of Pisces, which is Jupiter. Okay. So one of what we call the two dispositors of this eclipse, Jupiter and Neptune, the modern ruler, Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. Interesting. I'm just noticing now at a Libra degree, justice and the courts, and is in trine, positive aspect, almost exact to the North Node and the eclipse.
Wow.
So
So,
lucky ducky Jupiter is we're actually getting it's funny because this Pisces eclipse I actually like a lot more than the Virgo eclipse. Not saying that it's bad, but this one is going to be, I think, easier to handle because it's weird because it's Pisces full moon. You would think that that would be more intense, but Jupiter is like on our side with this one in all those Pisces ruled areas. Pisces, and it does have to do
mhm.
with justice. Pisces is the places where people go to serve justice, right?
Okay.
And it's
Okay.
also the spirit world. It's also karmic justice,
Mhm.
spiritual justice, the
Mhm.
higher powers, divine intervention. So this is miracles taking place. And we're talking specifically about health right now and the whole fallout for them shots, but this is also for anything in general right now, you guys. There's major, this whole next couple weeks as we're in this Pisces eclipse influence, magical energy is afoot. Totally,
Mm.
totally. And divine intervention and miracles. Jupiter in positive aspect. And if you remember our last As Above, So Below show, Shala, Uranus, remember what day was it?
Mhm.
Last week we had the Uranus sextile Neptune. Neptune is the other dispositor of this eclipse. So both the rulers of this eclipse are in very positive aspects.
Okay. Okay. Isn't that amazing? I mean, and look at this. I mean, it's just victory all the way across the board here,
I
right?
love that victory
This is
card.
sword. This is sword of truth, a sword of truth, and a victory card. And even if, because these are baby steps victories, right? It might not be all in one swoop, but we're on the path. We're heading in that direction. So, what is
Mhm.
it going to be like um, as these, you know, press conferences are happening? Now, when is that press conference supposed to be happening, Meg? Do you know?
Interesting. We don't know. Okay,
Um,
unless anybody does, but from my knowledge, we don't know. But I actually made the prediction. I think it's going to be closer to, and I'll bring the chart up. I think the press conference might actually be around the Virgo eclipse. Maybe we can pull cards on this too, because this one is way more funky and intense and challenging of an energy. So it's new moon solar eclipse at 29 degrees, critical degree Virgo, exactly opposite Saturn and Neptune. So reality check, Saturn, and Mars square Pluto. People are pissed off at something.
okay, so I just want to put it out there. If RFK Jr. and his team are listening to us, maybe they should go start this process on the earlier eclipse
Yeah,
because it feels like that is a positive aspect to open up the conversation, and maybe
yeah,
the axe falls on the later one.
on the later one.
When is the later one exactly? The later
September
eclipse?
21st. So that's a
Right on the equinox.
Sunday. To be honest, and I agree with you, Ashala, totally with you. I would rather it be with the Pisces eclipse. Just saying astrologically, I actually think it'll be Monday, September 22nd,
Wow.
the day
Okay.
after that eclipse. We'll see about that. That's kind of what makes sense to me. Maybe it'll be tomorrow, who knows, but we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. So, what do we need to know about that one and this whole conversation? Because clearly this is up and it's going to be up. This is what's coming in for
When
this eclipse season.
yeah, maybe how can we what's our guidance about how we can handle this? Because this is gonna be absolutely historical,
You know
life-changing.
what? I think this first eclipse is setting it up. I think we just have to go through it. Um, I feel like it's already up by the time that happens. Because look at this, in the recent past, something has been brought to light about the children, about something to do with children's health, autism, right? And then we are in that moment, in that time of this second eclipse. We are just now putting our armor on because there's going to be sling and match to some extent. But look at this high priestess. It just keeps going. It's like opening, it's like us when we woke up and went down the rabbit hole. It's like this rabbit hole is going to go whoosh. It's going to be this like just stuff is, they can't stop it. It's just going to go down, 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 down the rabbit hole. But is there anything in that second eclipse, that Virgo eclipse, that indicates that we could really go down a very deep rabbit hole?
Oh, yeah, Mars square Pluto, with the eclipse opposite Saturn, a very uncomfortable truth or sets of truth that we're gonna hear.
And undeniable. So I think, I'm going to
Undeniable.
speculate and see what I'm seeing in the cards here, that this is the revelation that's coming out to the masses that can't be hidden anymore. And I think that it is like, it will already be out. So maybe Trump pushing this panic button is to get this press conference happening now. So that, right? So that it, like, let's get this talked about, because he said NOW in capital letters. And if he means
Whoa.
now, like that's in the next week, that's during the first eclipse, the Pisces eclipse.
Ashala, you are on to something. You are on to something here.
Maybe. And because this feels like it's already opened up, and we just then go through and it's going to just go deep dive.
That high priestess, she freaks me out sometimes. I love her,
Well,
but sometimes she freaks me out.
okay, let's talk about her for a minute,
Yeah.
because she is, um, I often think of her as being ultimately compassionate,
Mhm.
but what's the word I'm looking for? Not dispassionate, but like detached. So you'll see she guards the gates of darkness and light, the duality, the gates of duality. And really what she's guarding is the secrets of the subconscious. If you look, can you see behind that? It's actually some kind of a veil that has the pomegranates on it. It's quite beautiful. That's behind her throne here. And then behind
Right.
that is water. Do you see the water? There's like a line right here and right there. It's actually water behind her throne, which is the subconscious. It's the waters of the subconscious. So she's actually a guardian of the subconscious. So she is there to, like really very much like scorpionic energy, right? She's there to um, guard the integrity of what comes through. Always see her as a protector. And she is there, and it's almost like she's holding the secrets. They're going to be revealed at the exact right time. Because I see her as an ally. When I'm doing the
Totally.
cards, I'm looking at these characters. They're bringing us, if they're badly aspected, we see what they're up against. It's not necessarily badly aspected
Yeah.
beside the Chariot and the Six of Cups. It's pretty well aspected. So in her highest form, she can really give us the courage to stand in that the duality and face it and also go deep. Yeah, deep, deep,
Yeah.
deep dive. And, that's what we were talking about with where people are at on that grief cycle. And I do also feel like we will see more potentially whistleblowers because they will see that it's not safe to talk, but it's not safe to not talk. So
Mhm.
it's like everybody comes to their own kind of decision around that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love the high priestess, not at all saying I don't love her or anything. I feel when she comes up, it's like one of those no joke cards. I call some of the cards like a no joke card, if you will. If it's coming up, there's a big energy or there's a big message, right? It's like pay attention,
Mhm.
right? And do they all have something in the right hand as well here?
Interesting. I think you could be correct, except no, hers is in the
Nope.
left. Hers is in
Okay.
the left hand. Her right hand is hidden. Oh, actually,
Oh,
her left hand is out and her right hand is
interesting.
hidden. So there we go. That's the mirror image um, of the duality. And I just noticed here as well that we've got the duality of the sphinxes at the foot of the chariot, black and white as well. You see that? So
Mhm.
there's going to be a lot of this whole black and white narrative. We're going to have the face off and the pressure of that, but it doesn't look violent. It doesn't look destructive, right? We don't have towers and devils and whole piles of swords or anything here. It looks no joke, but it looks very much like people.
Yeah.
It's inside of each individual, and I most of our watchers don't need to worry. We already know this stuff.
Mhm.
It's where this is going to take a lot of other people because they're going to come into a place. They're going to start by just trying to push through it, but at some point it's going to be working them subconsciously.
Yeah. Wow, I'm
Mhm.
excited. I'm really excited for this month and the whole future ahead and the fire horse year. So funny, Ashal, you brought up the fire horse year because either literally yesterday or today, I can't remember when, I thought about our conversation we had about the fire horse year. Something reminded me of it. I must have saw a horse and something, and I thought about it. I'm like, wow, yeah, that fire horse year is coming. So that's
Mhm.
interesting. That's coming up again.
Yeah.
And the
And
snake also has to do with the medical system, right? Healing, the healing arts.
right, the healing, what is that? That vow that they have to take, the Asclepian,
Hermetic oh, no, 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 let me
something like that.
yeah,
Anyway,
the
they have
oath.
to take that vow, which is do no harm. And it's like, it's basically where you say this is one of the major things with the drug companies too, right? It's like do no harm. Okay, and if you need to do harm to do good, we get the concept of a little bit of poison that is the catalyst to do the healing. We understand that, right? But you have to declare that. You have to
Yeah.
be honest about that. You have to give people the option to choose, do I want to just stick with the possibility of whatever this thing is, or do I want the medicine that could be also have some poison in it and might hurt me as well?
Mm,
And it's the ability for us to have, the where they've gone out of balance with karmic law is not being honest about that. Like, even, I mean, can we all just kind of say, yeah, if people want this thing and they recognize the side effects and the dangers to it, like, I guess, that's free will, right? But to force that free will on everybody and to just withhold those potential side effects, mm-mm. We don't get to do that here on planet Earth without huge repercussions. So spirit is holding them accountable.
wow, and I just had a major realization about something that I don't know how I didn't think about before, but Pisces is the health system. and medical institutions, and also medical workers. Okay. Herr Miller says docs are all afraid of getting sued. Now, I'm not calling on anybody who's, uh, you know, not a crazy psychopath person to go to jail. I do think that there has to be justice served, but I do think there was huge brainwashing to get people that thought they were doing the right thing,
Mhm.
right, by administering these shots. Some of you guys may disagree with me, but this Saturn opposite this eclipse, this is this is major justice and karma and reality checks for anything having to do with the medical system, the workers, the whole medical system. Um, yeah, just wanted to share that thought. It's interesting. We'll also probably see over the next year with this eclipse influence, actual, maybe there will be a movement of actual doctors coming forward, like saying, I'm sorry, kind of thing. Like, we may be hearing those voices more. Like, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you, whatever, because how are they going to feel?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
And,
unbelievable.
and I'm hearing some comments where people are like, yeah, let's have street justice. And I get it, right? I get it. It is like, but the thing is, all of what's happened is almost archetypal.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that we don't hold individuals accountable, but like you're saying, Meg, the whole thing is so complicated. And that's where we get into creating more negative karma by demanding the head on a platter of so and so that shouldn't have done such and such. And it's like, man, don't worry about it. I'm not saying, like, obviously, if someone is in a position of authority that has been signing off on all this stuff, knowing very well how dangerous it is, and not having the guts to speak to that, they need to be out of the position of authority immediately and
Mhm.
reprimanded severely for that. But what I'm saying is we recognize that karmic justice is way more effective at doling this out than we could ever be. And the
Yeah.
more in world we get into making them pay for this, you know, how about they pay by donating the rest of their career to doing good work to heal the mess they made, right?
Mhm.
Like if we've got, any good minds and they're being watched or whatever, like I'm just saying, we don't understand the way the whole wheel of karma and karmic justice works. And
Mhm.
it's, in a way, some of the things that happen to people who make these compromises that affect hundreds, millions of people are more horrific than you ever want to imagine. And they're already going to face that justice. So, yeah, like for us,
Totally.
I think the real clarity here is that the bigger important piece is that this is brought into such deep awareness that it gets us deeper. It takes us into the whole cabal system. It takes us into the whole hidden history system. It takes us, it can be the revealing point that opens up all the layers. And
Yeah.
that is more important than making a few individuals pay for something. To me, I'm like, let's keep letting this open, because I think the more people feel safe enough to come out and talk, that they're not going to feel like they're going to be strung up if they say, well, yeah, I knew better, I shouldn't have signed off on this, and I was pressured, right?
Right.
And then you follow the chain, and yeah, this could be the thing
Exactly.
that cracks it.
Wow. Wow. Wild. And that's also making me think about the 5 of Swords card. When I do my daily astro shows, we usually, the past few months, have been getting that once a week. Like, pick your battles, right? Pick your battles. And maybe that's good too, why uh, also time has passed, right? Because at first, if we're just angry right away, well, screw all of you. You should all go to jail and, you know, horrible things happen to you. Okay, pause, breathe. Like you said, Ashal, this is way deeper. This goes so deep. We're dealing with mind control. We're dealing with groups feeding off of our energy, doing dark arts. We're dealing with innocent. I will use the word innocent, and some of you guys may disagree with me, but I'm going to say innocent medical professionals that thought they were doing good work, now having to live with what they've done.
This is what here we have the unraveled RN saying, "You're right, Meg. I'm unvaxxed nurse. I'm 70, a nurse 30 years. I red pilled many of the doctors, did blindly what they were told. Now many know, and they are upset, sad, or upset and confused." Yeah.
Crises, confusion, depression, anxiety, mental illness. I don't wish that upon anybody, but
Mm-hmm.
we're dealing with major medical issues of the fallout of this and the coming to terms of it. It's Saturn. It's heavy. It's
It,
heavy.
and this association between vaccines and autism, it's going to be absolutely revelatory, because people are going to say, "But if you even knew this was a possibility, why didn't you inform us better? We've been putting this into our babies, into our children." And, like, and I think it really takes us on such a very, very deep journey of, I had this conversation with my daughter a couple of weeks ago, and we were saying, like, I know the principle of using something to build immunity by introducing, it's called homeopathy, right? You use a small amount of whatever the poison is, and it
Mhm.
introduces the ability for your own natural defenses to kick in and get strong. It's a beautiful concept. It's been around for hundreds of years. Okay. Wasn't invented by some doctor in Germany 100 years ago. It's been around for a long, long time. But what's the problem with these needles put in people's arms en masse that come from some drug company, who knows where, putting who knows what into it,
Right.
right? We are not looking at a substance that we follow the train of exactly what's in it. It's a very simple product that doesn't have a lot of ingredients in it, and it has been tested, and people are told about the side effects. You're introducing literally a small amount of poison in the body. Like, that should be choice for people, and you should be weighing the potential dangers, the real dangers, with the side effects. And that's, to me, where it's gotten, like, it's just never been okay to do this en masse and tell everybody this is what has to be done. That's just
Mhm.
wrong. It's never been right, you know?
Yeah.
But we're not saying there's no science around the idea of homeopathy. There is.
Right.
So this will come out, I think, as a result of this. This is all going to be dredged up.
Oh my gosh. This is amazing times to be alive. So revelatory and so grateful to be here with you, Ashala, and all our community out there. We are ready for this. We are going to get through this, and we will be with you guys during the process here on Beyond Mystic. That's for sure. We're over the hour mark, so we're going to finish up the show. Any closing remarks, Ashala, before we finish up?
Well, I wasn't expecting this, but I'm really glad that we did this deep
Yay.
dive, because it feels
Yeah.
like we did a really deep dive on this topic. And I haven't even really been thinking about it. So thank you. Thank you, everyone, for the going on this ride with us. Thank you, Meg, for your great
Yeah.
questions.
Thank you, Ashala. Thank you, everyone. Before we finish up here, oh my God, what did I do with my slides? Okay, here it is. We want to share as well the Starseed Crystal Collection, still available over on the Scorpling shop. We've had lots of orders come in. Sunny and I are so grateful for everyone that has been grabbing magical space gems. The Moldavite, the Libyan Desert Glass has been really popular. Black Tektite, and the Columbianite, as well as the laser quartz and amethyst scepters. So we're sold out of a lot of them, but we still have some Moldavite in stock, Libyan desert glass, I think there's a few Orion Starseed bundles. So if you guys want to check out our Starseed crystal collection, that's over at thescorplingshop.com. Use code Beyond Mystic to get 10% off. And next week, we will have something very special to add to this collection. So stay tuned for that. And for the rest of the week here on Beyond Mystic, we've got our regular scheduled programming. ASHALA has her Psychic Tarot show happening on Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern. No Intuition Fridays this week, ASHALA?
I don't think so. I'm always confused. Penny and I are both always confused. We've got a list of the days that it's on and off, and so I don't think we're on this week. No.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll look forward to the next one, and we'll see all of you guys back next week. Thank you all so much for joining us. Again, if you'd like to have a personal reading with ASHALA or myself, you can go check that out at consultations.beyondmystic.net. Link is in the description box below. This has been As Above, So Below, sending lots of love your way, everyone, and see you next time. Bye.
Bye.